Hey, good day, folks. This is Paul of the House of Graber here at the Memoirs of a Farmer Boy platform, where we talk about the real life experiences of today concerning Revelations 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, "Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues." My goal is to share things that possibly can bring your journey out of corporate into private, a little more into focus, and to help you along the way. This is the 24th day of March 2024. And I want to clarify right from the get-go that everything that we do here at the House of Graber, at the Memoirs of a Farmer Boy platform, and everything included or attached to what we do, all the information, all the data, video, audio, printed matter, intellectual property, electronic or otherwise, is protected and safeguarded under the laws of nature and nature's God, otherwise known as the courts of heaven, the ecclesia courts, the highest venue, the highest jurisdiction on the planet. And this protection and safeguarding is attached to the material that we share here, regardless whether you just listen to it and keep on going, or if you copy it and take it elsewhere. It's still protected under that venue, under the protection of the courts of heaven. And our material is also subject to and protected by the private registered copyright of the House of Graber. Okay. So today, before I go any further, though, I want to mention a couple other things. The Homesteading Made Easy by Memoirs of a Farmer Girl. My beautiful woman, Carol, does broadcasts and shows you how to do things around the house, such as baking bread or making grape mitts. She's a master in the area of housekeeping and cooking and gardening. And there's no limit to the amount of gems and valuable tips that you can pick up there. And that's also on YouTube. Homesteading Made Easy by Memoirs of a Farmer Girl. And then there's our son, Michael, who is a knife maker. Torch Phase. If you look up the Torch Phase channel on YouTube, you'll see some of his handiwork. He does hand-forged knives and very, very impressive work. So you can go there and check that out. And also the memoirs of a farmerboy.com link in this description, which I'll share all these links that I've mentioned in the description of this video and this audio broadcast. And that's where you can go to plug in and enter your contact info if you want more information about what we do here at the Memoirs of a Farmer Boy platform. Today's message is a term that I'm pretty sure all of you have heard about. The American Dream. I'm going to talk about the American Dream. First of all, I want to start out by asking you a question. What do you think of? What kind of picture comes to your mind when you think of the American Dream? Because obviously, there's many different opinions about what that would be. There's also or I would imagine there's a socially accepted version of what that would be. And I might mention that our forefathers have sacrificed much. And even to this day, there's people sacrificing much to make this American dream possible. Now, I want you to lock in on your picture of the American dream. before I start talking about it. I want you to think about it in your mind. What is the American dream, and what would it look like in specifically in your life? So, growing up in my childhood, I grew up in a very conservative religious background known as the Old Order Amish Church. Okay. And this is it's a lifestyle and it's a religion. And there's values, real good values. And there's indoctrination, brainwashing tactics. There's religious gobbledygook that is nowhere to be found in the Bible. And then there's some things that are to be found in the Bible. And there's things that are practiced that are, I would say, potentially stem from scriptural reference that are twisted and warped beyond repair. So there's a great big variety of things going on in this culture known as Old Order Amish. I'm setting a foundation for what I'm about to talk about. Okay. Religion is the single main cause of the downfall of society. Religion is made to divide people. Religion, now, I want to say that most businesses provide a product and or service. And if you are a member of a church, most, pretty much all, not everyone, but I'm generalizing. I would say 99%, 98% at minimum of all modern day churches are corporations. I call them the corporate country club. And the Amish is just one version of that. There's Presbyterian, there's Catholic, there's Pentecostal, there's Baptist and Brethren, and I mean, the list goes on, and then there's some that call themselves non-denominational. But very, very, very rarely do I find one that is unincorporated. And even if they are, they're kind of operating on the same main carriage of religious indoctrination. So most businesses provide a product or a service, and in many cases, both. And in the case of the modern church, and this was going on thousands of years ago, it's not a new thing, but it definitely is a present day thing. The service that the church provides, this religious organization, and if you're part of a corporate construct like this, you can take offense to what I'm about to say, or you can take it for what it is. I'm shedding light on what's going on. And if you take offense to it, then that's your own choice. I don't really care. I care about people, but I do not care enough about others' thoughts and opinions that will stop me from speaking what I know. Okay. And this is about a system, an establishment, a corporate country club. I'm talking about the mother of harlots, the mystery Babylon. That's what it is. And the modern established recognized church is part of that system, very much. Many of them are flying the same flag as the state courts and the federal courts fly because they're the same system. They belong to the same master. It's the wartime flag with the gold fringe because they are at war. It is war that they thrive on. So the service that this construct provides, this business, and by the way, the state courts are part of it. They provide the same service. The service they provide is destroying families, separating families, separating siblings, separating man and woman, separating moms and dads from their offspring. That is the service they provide. And the corporate country club, known as church, is in bed with the state court. They are the precise same system. That is why they fly the same flag, because they are under the same master, the great Babylonian war, committing financial adultery. The merchants of the earth are committing financial adultery. And the merchandise that they are trading is a very long list. I can remember what the last two are on the list. It's in Revelations. I think it's chapter 17 or 18. I'm not sure. The last two on the list are slaves and the souls of men. Now, this jokester so-called presidential administration that's going on right now, called the Biden administration, they put it out on billboards very clearly. Satan always has to show us what he's going to do before he does it. And the only question is, are we alert and are we seeing it? They put it on the billboard, fighting for the soul of a nation. They are trafficking and merchandising slaves and souls of men. Go look it up. It's in Revelations. It's very clear. It's right in front of our face. And as a side note, the pathetic thing is that we have people all over this country called Christians that are under some kind of convoluted illusion that persecution is something that happened way back, or it's happening in some other country, or it's not happening here. You know what? That's a lie. If that's where you're at, you need to wake up and smell the coffee. Persecution is happening right here in America. Attorneys and police forces and child protective services colluding together to traffic children into the hands of the pedophiles at the expense of families being torn apart and being paid for it. It's big, big money. Okay? The church is behind this. The pastor supports the judge and the doctor and the banker. The judge supports the other three. The banker supports the other three. And the doctor supports the other three, the medical doctors. Now, I want you to know that this is not about anybody personally. It's about an establishment that is very, very devious, and we need to wake up. So the service that the church provides is tearing families apart and taking assets on behalf of the state because they're a state-run corporation. So ask yourself this question, or I'm going to ask it for you. What is the first thing that happens when church service opens up and starts, or church service proceeds to in the church room? First thing that happens in most churches is they they take the youngsters, different age brackets, into different rooms with different teachers while mom and dad stay in the sanctuary with the pastor. If that's what you're doing to your children, shame on you. Shame on you if you are allowing that to happen. These youngsters are being taught by somebody that you think is their friend. They're being indoctrinated with religious gobbledygook, hogwash. And for all you know, there's things going on that you could not imagine. And in many cases, that is the case. Worst of all, they are being conditioned to believe that it's okay to be separated from their mom and dad. The schools teach that. The churches teach it. They're being well conditioned to be a ward of the state. Why are you okay with that? Why are you okay with that? Let's talk about the American dream. I don't know what came to your mind when I talked about the American dream, but I'm going to tell you something. It's not what most people think. A number of years ago, it was in 2019, a young man that I had interacted with for some time, 6 months or better, gained some respect for him. I liked the guy. He called me up, and he's on a campaign to end the death penalty in the state where he's at. And he pitched me on what they're doing. He and I don't know who all was involved, but I knew a couple guys that were involved. They were on this big push for ending the death penalty. Their tagline was that you cannot end violence with more violence. And of course, they were looking for donations to support their cause, to support this campaign. I waited until he was done speaking, and I said, look, I appreciate where your heart is at, but I'm going to tell you something. First of all, as far as ending the death penalty, there's some politicians that, I think that would be the appropriate measure because they've destroyed so many lives, either destroyed people otherwise or physically caused their death, millions of people. So the death penalty would be appropriate. But aside from that, I said, if you're going to fix a problem, you better go back to where it was created and start there. And that is when these men or women were babies sitting on their mother's lap. I said, many children don't even know what it's like to be with one of their biological parents, let alone both of them. And even more of them don't know what it's like to have a family life where there's a family functioning unit, a father and a mother functioning as a unit, as a union, as under a covenant, the way our Creator designed it. They grow up in very broken situations, and in many cases are being cared for minimally and or not at all. And if they are being cared for, it's by somebody who does not understand their needs and their, what it takes to groom young men and women. It's there's no way for me to take enough time to explain what I'm talking about, but many of you can relate to it because you may have grown up in situations like that. So these young men and women grow up physically and emotionally are locked in a very young and broken state of mind, and they do things that are unhealthy. So if you want to fix the problem, go back there and start where the problem was created. Fix the family, the broken family, the church and the state courts and the schools and all the other state agents that are involved, including the chaos agents of chaos called attorneys. There's a reason why Christ said, "Woe unto you, lawyers," because they're agents of chaos. They thrive on destroying other people's lives and taking their wealth and creating war and controversy so they can get paid. That's how they make that's how they get paid. Plus, I told this young man, the prison system is broken. The government is broken. The church is broken. The schools are broken. The whole justice system is broken. None of it is working. It's not working at all. So fighting a broken system and giving energy to it is not where I'm not interested. I said, my energy and my time and my investment of resources is going into the family unit, because there is no nation on the face of this earth that is stronger than the individual family or household in that nation. I'm going to say that again in case you didn't catch it. A nation or a country or a large people group is only as strong as the individual family unit in that nation or people group or country. If you think that's wrong, then it just means to me that you're delusional. I'm not going to beat around the bush on this. The broken family is why this country is in the hole that it's in. The broken family in this country is why we have the pathetic administration going on that calls itself a presidential administration. The broken family is why the crime rates are up. The broken family is why there's 10 or 15 or 20 times as many police officers in every town as what there should be. The broken family is why we have people who can't figure out which freaking bathroom to go to because they don't know which gender they are, or they try to convince themselves there's something that they're not. The broken family is why we have people coming out of college that don't have enough sense to get in and out of the rain. Now, what is the American dream? I'd like to give you a perspective of what the American dream should be, and not just the American dream. It should be everybody's dream. It should be a family unit. People that function as a family unit. People that grow up in a healthy environment where they learn to respect each other's rights. Okay? A family. a father figure and a mother figure. Because when that falls apart, the nation falls apart. Whether you believe me or not, or whether you think I'm off key, that's how it is. That is how it's always been. I didn't make these principles and laws. Man can make all kinds of rules and statutes, but man cannot change the principles and laws of nature as nature's God designed them, our almighty creator. Matrimony, man and woman coming together and functioning as a unit, is the highest and most sacred institution on the planet. That should be the American dream. It is also the single most it's the institution that has been attacked and spent the most energy on to destroy from the beginning of time. From the very beginning of what we know as history, which who knows what was before that. But if you look at just, known history, one of our boys just started a job, and the one, he'd been putting in applications at several places, and he just turned 16, so it's a little bit of a challenge, to find work, because he can't, in many situations there's equipment involved that he's not allowed to run. But one of the places that he filled out an application, the HR, the woman that's head of HR, human resources, which we could talk about that term, but she put a sticky note on the application when she sent it home with me, and she says, make sure that your son is the one filling this out on his own. You know what? That just told me that she's part of the Babylonian system, and she is absolutely clueless on who she's dealing with. Because now this is not, again, it's not personal, but I'm going to tell you something. If she thinks, or anybody else thinks, that my 16-year-old son is going to fill out that application and they're going to get to, call shots and tell him what to do without me being involved, they're delusional. They are absolutely delusional. That might work with some people, but not with me. Absolutely not with me. As a matter of fact, the place where he did start working, and it turned out very well, he's very excited, and I think it's going to be a good thing. They found work for him that he can do without, it's not running equipment and stuff. But when the agreement was reached that he would work for them, the first thing I did is I sent a letter to the HR guy and put him on notice that our son is not going to sign or agree to anything without first bringing it home and having me inspect it and being okay with it as a head of the house. And I said, that is in effect until he turns 21 years old, or until we give different notice, whichever happens to be first. Because I take my position as head of the house very seriously. Because I believe in the American dream, the dream that was handed down to us by our Creator. It really has nothing to do with America. It has to do with living on planet Earth And it has to do with the Creator's plan for us, living as a family unit. And, you know, it's a personal choice that each of us has to make. Several years ago, one of the local schools, several miles from here, not very far away, there was a young child left on the bus while it was parked in the school garage during the day. And I don't know for sure, was the child strapped in the, you know, with the safety belt on the seat, or how that was. But I guess all day during school hours, this child was on the bus. And when it got found out, people just, you know, lost their cool. They thought there needs to be a lawsuit brought against the school administrator, you know, whatever. Yeah, and we're upset. My question is, this child was 3 years old. My question is, why on God's green earth would anyone in their right mind send a child of age 3 off with a, you know, Rockefeller Institution bus into an indoctrination system? I mean, we don't send our offspring to that place at any age. Why would you do that at 3 years old? It's one more indication that the American people have been brainwashed into believing that it's okay for somebody else to, you know, you just send them off. Like, where's the responsibility? I would like for you to consider and rethink the American dream. Have an amazing day. Share this video, like it, subscribe to the channel, and we will talk to you next time. Thanks.